I present to you Feathers by Flutterpriest. If a pony asks what's a Pegasus without their wings, it sounds like the lead-in to some bad joke. Last week, something changed. Now, it's the question hanging on every pony's lips. It only takes one event to change a world. What we know about the virus is that it's an airborne pathogen that affects only Pegasus ponies, the news reporter said over the television screen that lit the dark room. The infection began in Canterlot, with the first known case occurring 3 days ago. "Could you please turn that off, dear?" Wendy Whistles sat on the sofa, her face buried in her hooves. Beau Hothoof's eyes never left the television screen, not responding to his wife. His wife drew in a shallow breath and let it out raggedly. She hated depressing news. He knew that, but this was serious. This was life or death. His hooves gripped onto the couch tightly, protesting his trembling nerves. The disease spread all throughout Equestria and quickly reached Cloudsdale, the Pegasus capital of Equestria. The sickness has only one main symptom, the shedding of feathers. If the condition of the patient grows too serious, then it has been established that flight is impossible. Ongoing research is being conducted to discern if this affects the ability for Pegasi to stand on clouds. Princess Celestia has urged that magic artificers and medical personnel across Equestria are hard at work on a possible cure. Until then, all citizens are urged not to stand directly on clouds. The city of Cloudsdale has entered a state of emergency and... Beau reached for the television remote and shut the television off, leaving the setting sunlight that streamed through the windows, the only source of light in the room. Of course we can't walk on clouds now. Any Pegasus could tell you that. He extended a wing, examining the patchy, uneven gray surface. He brushed his wing gently, and several feathers pulled away with his hoof. He felt a small part of himself leave his body, floating down to the ground thousands of feet below him. What is a Pegasus without their wings? A gentle sob came from Wendy, who was doing her best to hold herself together. "Do you think Dashie is—" "Dash is fine, sweetie. She's a big girl, a smart girl, and a wonderbolt. Plus, she lives with all of her friends in Ponyville. She's probably grounded right now. Don't even think about it." Wendy sniffed as Hot moved his hoof over their cloud floor and let his vivid purple feathers fall. They drifted through the air, slowly, delicately dancing. They passed through the cloud floor and out of sight. They said help is on the way. Unicorns with a cloud-walking spell are going home to home and helping ponies evacuate. Until then, all we can do is sit. A silence fell over the room as Hot reached over and turned on a lamp. He drew a deep breath and looked over his rugless floor. "Do you remember when Dashie was young? And she pretended that the floor was lava?" It felt as if a knife had slit his throat. Was she safe? Yeah, I was always awful at that game. The thought permeated his mind like a sick, twisted joke. If he stepped on the floor, that was it. He would be just like his neighbor, one scream that started loudly, then gradually faded away. Then... gone. He only hoped that his family was able to get on top of the furniture before... He dared not think about the Pegasi that fell from the sky. They were showing it on the news. Ponies on the ground were encouraged to put their mattresses outside to help as many ponies as possible manage a graceful crash. Hot turned to his wife, who had shrunken into herself. "I should get the scrapbook. I should have gotten it." "It'll be here when we come back." "You don't know that!" She extended her wing, now only a raw, fleshy extension of her back, with only tattered remnants of feathers. "You know they won't grow back until next year, if they even will at all. She paused, then closed her eyes. He moved down the couch and wrapped his hooves around his wife. "I know, but it will be okay, even if we can't fly. And I still think you're beautiful. The weather outside darkened. A glow of rainbow-colored energy surrounded the clouds, containing the unscheduled thunderstorm, but not eliminating it. The silence was deafening. I should have gotten the scrapbook. I still have most of my feathers. He paused, an offer on his lips. That small book meant the world to them. The thought of never having Dashy's baby book again left a bitter taste on his tongue. But he would have to walk upstairs, grab the book. I could try. No, it's not worth falling over. Another silence fell over the room as he kissed the top of his wife's head. Dash is alive, Wendy. She's going to be okay. Hot measured his breathing evenly. An acidic burn raged deep within his chest. It wasn't the risks that infuriated him. Pegasus furniture was enchanted. If they sat tight, they would be evacuated. It was the helplessness. It was seeing his wife cry and not having a tangible foe to direct his fury at. That was the worst part. Just then, a knock on their front door startled the both of them. Mr. and Mrs. Dash? A voice called from the other side. This is Princess Twilight Sparkle. I'm coming in. Hot breathed a sigh of relief as a purple aura surrounded the doorknob and lock. He remembered Rainbow talking about Princess Twilight from before she was coronated. If she was here, she must know something about their daughter. The door swung open and the alicorn stepped inside. Hot's eye moved directly from her concerned face to her wings. Her feathers were nearly non-existent. Small trickles of blood dripped down to the floor. She must have plucked a blood feather and tried to heal the wound. Wendy sat up straight, tears in her eyes. Her whole body shook in a mixture of relief and excitement. Rainbow sent me to get you two. I'm evacuating you personally. Just hold still for 1 second and I'll do the cloud-walking enchantment. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Twilight. Princess? Twilight is fine, Mrs. Dash. I haven't been feeling very, princess-like. Twilight flexed her wings unconsciously as her horn lit in a gentle purple glow. Wendy and Hot felt their bodies grow warm, and then the feeling passed. There, step lightly just in case, but you should be safe. Hot reached out a hoof and carefully stood on top of the floor of his home. He exhaled and felt a sense of security overwhelm him. He reached out a hoof for his wife, who shrunk away instinctively. Shyly, she took her hoof and carefully reached out another hoof onto the floor. When it connected, she pulled it away, as if touching a hot stove, but carefully set her hoof onto solid cloud. She set herself upright, then turned to Twilight. Is my Dashie okay? The princess bit her lip and pondered her words. Yes, she's fine. She was in Ponyville when the news was released. But... Twilight paused. Her mouth opened and closed as if she were choking on words she wanted to say, or wasn't sure she could say. She hasn't been taking this very well. As far as she knows, the Wonderbolts are on an indefinite hiatus. Twilight again opened her mouth, as if wanting to say something else, then turned to the door. Come on, we should get to the hot air balloon. We'll get you two to Ponyville. You can stay in my castle until everything settles down. Wendy nodded and followed the alicorn. Bo remained still. Will we ever be able to come back? Twilight remained still. Wendy turned to her husband. Dear, that isn't important right now. Will we ever be able to come back to our home, Princess? It's a simple question. Twilight sighed. We don't know yet. Silence. I see. A moment. Bo ascended the stairs, moved to a room, then another, then stepped inside their daughter's trophy room. He pulled a baby book from the shelf, opened it, and glanced carefully through the pages to be sure nothing was missing. Dear, we need to go! I'm coming. He closed the book and retraced his steps back downstairs. Wendy glanced at the book her husband carried, her ears turned down, as if a terrible thought had popped into her mind. and then looked back to the princess. "Let's go." Panic is subjective. When a victim is running for their life, they scream, plead for help. They make loud hoof falls and try to impede their pursuer. However, panic can also be quiet. It can be holding their breath in a closet, hiding, praying that whatever ails them will pass. Cloudsdale was silent, with the exception of the growl of the high-altitude winds. The only other sound that echoed through the neighborhood was the brisk trot of the 3 ponies. Beau's vision moved from window to window of the homes around them. Some Pegasi were sitting on couches, the televisions lighting up their fearful expressions, and reflecting from the tears on their eyes. Other homes were empty, completely still. Hopefully, they were confined to their beds and simply out of sight, as opposed to the alternative. A vision popped into his head of an irritated child who was tired of sitting on the couch and wanting to play. As it came into their vision, the large purple hot air balloon provided a comfort that Hot didn't know he could feel again. His hooves were still sore from the lack of space allowed to him from the living room couch. However, the balloon pushed him further. "Hey! Hey, you!" Twilight, Windy, and Hot's attention turned, and there, sitting on a park bench, was a mare. She was watching them carefully. "You're walking! Wait, is that Princess Twilight?" "No, we have to go. It isn't safe here. We need to go." "Is that balloon yours?" The mare rose to her hooves. She was tan with a long pink mane. Her feathers fell to the cloudy ground, then through it. "Can you take me with you? Please!" "We should help her, Hot. She'll die if we leave her here." "She's right. I have room for at least one more in my hot air balloon. We're going to save her. It's the right thing to do." "Wait." Hot stepped in front of the 2 mares. "How do we know we can trust her? What if she wants to help more ponies? Helping one pony means having to help every pony." Twilight remained silent, glaring at Hot. The scenarios played out in his mind like a motion picture. What if the mare stole the hot air balloon, stranding the 3? Sure, Twilight's magic could keep them on the clouds, but for how long? Or what if helping this mare means then having to save a filly? Then that's 2 more ponies. Then the hot air balloon is too full. When a simple no can be a death sentence, not too many ponies will accept it without a fight. The bodies that fell from the sky without the breath of life inside them were the worst. Twilight pushed past Hot, refusing to answer him. "Yes, I am. Here." Twilight lit her horn. "This will let you walk." A light violet hue enveloped the mare. The stranger's face grew bright, and a smile formed. Hot grit his teeth. This could be their undoing. "Oh, thank you, thank you!" The mare stepped off the park bench. "Now listen, I only have room for 1. I can take you to the ground, but I can't help any pony else right now." "Oh, thank you, but I just want to see my family again." She turned, then trotted in the direction opposite of the trio. "Wait! What if your family was already evacuated? It's not safe." The mare paused, turning back one last time. "The extraction teams are moving too slowly. Do you know how long it takes to get from Cloudsdale to the ground? Honestly, I don't know if they're safe or not, but I'd rather die than not know. I'd rather be with my family and risk death. So, thank you, Princess Twilight, but I have to do this." And then the mare darted away, down the empty street and out of sight. As they stepped onto a solid foundation, the hangover of adrenaline began to rack their systems. The Pegasi felt weak and woozy. Twilight lit her horn, and the burner roared to life. The balloon lifted into the air, and soon the ground beneath them was clear and visible. Hot looked to the city of Cloudsdale, slowly growing smaller behind them. 1, 2, 3 falling. He looked away and embraced his wife. He knew that they could have been them. How long could a pony realistically stick to a chair, a couch? No food, no water, stranded in your own home or in public, or worse, alone. What does this mean now? Who will control the weather? Who will control the clouds? For now, some of Equestria's finest unicorns are working with Pegasus weather teams to find ways to work with the weather. We might be able to find temporary housing. Jobs will be created to make that housing. How long do you think it will take to evacuate all of Cloudsdale? Twilight remained silent. Too long. We've already lost too many. All we can try to do is minimize what we can. Twilight sat on the bottom of the hot air balloon. Her body began to tremble. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. Sweetheart, you saved our lives. Why would you need to apologize for that? Twilight remained still. You two were my second stop. My first was Fluttershy's parents. Twilight looked up to the massive city in the sky, her posture breaking, her breathing growing ragged as another pony fell from the sky. There was just no pony home. Thank you kindly for listening to Feathers by Flutterpriest. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to me if you want to watch more. And please leave me a comment if you have anything that you would like to point out to me, or let me know about. If there are any criticisms or things that you think I did really well, I'd really like to hear about them. I'm always striving to improve. Again, thank you for listening.